What can you tell me about the dingo fences?
The dingo fences. We've got rabbit fences, but
So,
I don't know about the dingo fence.
so
Someone might
there's
be
a
able to.
fence. There's a fence in Australia that nobody can tell me how long it is, but I know it's thousands of miles and it's guarded. And they say it
Yeah,
protects you from dingoes and radiation from nuclear testing in the past.
yeah. I've never heard it.
Wow. That's like people in New York never heard of Building 7 falling.
Yeah, no. Someone. I'll see anyone in the chat if you've heard of this. We've got like what they call the rabbit-proof fence or something that they put through to stop rabbits from going across. We've got other introduced species and that sort of thing, toads. But I've never heard the dingoes. The dingoes are
They're
mostly
guarded. They're guarded. They're currently guarded, these fences, for thousands of miles.
yeah.
Yeah, David, the dingo fence goes for about 5,500 kilometres.
So where does it go from? South Australia to Northern Territory or something?
Apparently, I think it's the longest like structural wall or whatever you want to call it in the world.
Wow. And what's your knowledge of it, Darren? So Darren, this is David Darren.
Howdy.
Hi.
What's your knowledge of it, Darren?
It goes through the Nullarbor Plains. It goes from South Australia up through Queensland, I believe.
Okay, someone's just saying one end is in Jandowae, in Queensland. And do they call it the dingo fence? And is that what they're claiming? And have you
Yeah.
seen is it guarded?
Is it guarded? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but I know it's not just for dingoes. So I think it's for kangaroos as well. I think it
Yeah, well,
does a multiple.
that's the story. That's the story they tell you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's quite bizarre that and I suppose it gives life to this the dingo got my baby theory. The,
I don't know
the
that.
Azaria Chamberlain. Oh, you don't know about Azaria Chamberlain? This the case.
They stole a baby. A
Yeah,
dingo.
yeah. A dingo allegedly stole a baby, came into a camp site in Uluru, and there was a couple camping, and they were from some evangelistic group, and basically the dingo allegedly took the baby, and it's been proven since this happened in the 80s. And it's been proven since that a dingo did actually take the baby. They found the clothing, and it had dingo, saliva on it, etc., etc. But the woman, the mother, got charged with the murder of the baby, and she went to prison for a good, I think it was maybe 20 years or something. But she got exonerated from it. So
So wait, well, hold on, hold on.
clearly, the dingo fence didn't work.
Wait, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Do you believe? I no, maybe it happened, but do you believe that a dingo took a baby?
Yep.
So the question is, how do you know? It's just what evidence do you have that that ever happened? It may have happened. I don't know, but I'm asking you. Whatever they say, well, they found the baby, they found the bones, they found saliva. Well, they found dead kids at Sandy Hook also. So that's the story. That's the story. Is there any proof that that is
Yeah.
true? I mean, to me, when I was doing research on it, this was a while ago. It was first they said it was to stop people from going to where they had done nuke testing in the past. And then if you know about the no nukes, the nuke hoax, that's a big suspicion right there. And then they changed it to the dingoes. And now I'm hearing about rabbits. Maybe that's a different fence. And then the stealing of a baby, they always try to keep it emotional. It sounds like a big fish to me.
100%. They tried to say it was maybe some cult sacrifice. There was all this stuff going on that the parents did it, and she went to jail. There was a trial, and she actually went to jail. And for a long time, it was possibly 15, 20 years. She was there for a long time, and
But
then finally it came out that one day they found the baby suit and it had the teeth marks of a dingo and the saliva and everything, and yeah.
All right. Well, I know nothing about this, but I'm calling bullshit. Sorry. I'm calling BS. And they say Charles Manson, the serial killer, which is another psyop here in America. They tell you people are in jail. You have no way of confirming that they're actually in jail.
No.
We've got an intellectually disabled man in jail in Melbourne who apparently shot over 30 people at in Tasmania at where was it, Dave?
Port Arthur, but he's
Port
in Hobart, not Melbourne.
No, he's in Melbourne. He's in jail in Melbourne.
He's been in recent prison for years. I don't know, but anyway, we've got a. Have you heard of Ole Demigard?
Oh yeah, he's a friend.
Yeah, so Ole comes on and he does some. Basically, we've done JFK, MLK, and we're going to do a bunch, once a month with him as well, going through, what he's found, and it's a similar sort of thing as what we're doing tonight, which we'll get started in a minute. But effectively, just having a look and trying to break down some of these narratives as to what we've been taught, and to start discerning for ourselves as to what the world really is, and all of that stuff. So I think all of this sort of helps that journey in being open to not thinking we know it all from when we got brought up through school. So Tom's just joined us as well.
Hey, Tom.
Tom's another.
Around 10 years.
And Darren, I can hear your things. I'm just going to pop yours on mute, and we're going to get started.
I was just going to quickly say hi. Been following a lot of his stuff, David. Really like it.
Facility, that house.
Thanks, man. Tom, I think we did a podcast together years ago. We're on a panel or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm just watching you too much, or maybe we did. I don't remember.
Might have been on a panel. Yeah.
Yeah, we were on a panel a long time ago, and your journey through the whole jibby jab nonsense was important to watch.
Thanks.
All right, you guys ready to get started? All right, welcome everyone to another episode of But What If? And today we're going to talk about what if the Earth is flat. We've got David Wise with us. David, you're one of the most well-known people who have spoken about this topic. And as we sort of discussed before we went on air, that, but what if is just posing the question. We are not trying to claim one way or the other. What we want to do is pose the question and have people discern for themselves and start to open their minds that we have been lied to with a whole bunch of things historically, all different things around the world, but where and how deep do those lies go? And that's effectively what we want to do here. We've all got our own personal opinions on here. And this was one of the last things that I, personally went, okay, I better have a look at this as an idea, as a conspiracy, as whatever you want to call it, and then started to accept that, what I'd been taught in school and everything was probably not correct. So, David, can you tell us a little bit about yourself to start off with, how you got into this topic? What was your sort of first things that you ever got into prior to the flat Earth stuff, and how did you get to this journey where you've now become a well-known expert in this area?
Well, thank you for the intro. Thank you for the intro. And you said it well. A lot of people say you're the head of flat Earth. You're the leader. There's no leaders. There's no head. I'm just the guy with the biggest mouth that's gone out there. So yes, I am becoming one of the most well-known because I go on so many different platforms. So thank you for that. My story is pretty simple, and one of my earliest memories in elementary school was in first, second, third grade. the teacher took us outside and teach us about gravity. He put water in a bucket and had a rope tied to the bucket and swung it around and said, "That's gravity." And as a little kid, I said, "Wait a minute, doesn't the water have to be on the outside of the bucket since we're on the water's on the outside of the ball and it's spinning?" And the teacher grabs his beard, goes like this, goes over to his book, brings it over. And I remember the book. He showed me in the book and there's highlights from all different colors from like years and years of either him or multiple teachers using the same book. And he shows me the paragraph. He says, "This is how they tell me to teach it. And that's how I'm going to teach it. But you keep asking questions." And he sent me on my way. And I went and played on the swing. So flash forward, I don't know how many years later, decades, we can measure it in decades. I start hearing about flat Earth. I was doing a podcast called Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, which started, I'll back up a little bit. I was working in a corporation, a solar power company. And at lunchtime, my buddy, another salesman, myself, we would go in the lunchroom and we'd start talking about the Federal Reserve and the IRS and talking about how they're not what people think. And every day we go to lunchroom, there's more and more people gathered around us. And it was coming big. And one day he calls me, he goes, "Hey, Dave, New York City stand-up comedy club is opening up a podcast studio and we have an opportunity to do a podcast there." And I said, "What's a podcast?" I didn't even know. And he said, "Well, it's a recorded radio show." And I said, "Sounds great." He goes, "Yeah, but it has to be comedy related. So we'll be the researchers, the conspiracy guys. And then Mike, a comedian, he'll try to turn everything into a fart joke." And basically that was the show. And it actually went kind of viral. Became a very big podcast. And we started off with, the first one was 9/11. And literally we're in New York City talking about 9/11. The whole management of the entire building had their heads in the window and they're holding their heads after we were done. And I'm like, "Oh my God, what the heck just happened?" So that was the launch of Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And then after the second year into the third year, people started sending me flat Earth stuff. "Dave, have you looked into flat Earth?" And I'm just like, "You're gone, delete, delete, delete." And then they'd send other things. They'd post things. I'm like, "Banned for life. You're an idiot." Right? I'm not even going to look at that. And I refused to even watch a 1-minute video. I'm like, that's stupid, because that's a knowing I had. The Earth is a globe. Flat Earth is the dumbest thing ever. And then it wasn't until Sophia Smallstorm, I was speaking with her. Many of you must know who she is. And she did 9/11 Mysteries. We Need to Talk. Unraveling Sandy Hook in 2, 3, 4, and 5 dimensions and other stuff. And she mentioned to me that she thought the Earth was flat. And I just couldn't believe it. So she sent me a couple of videos. One of them was Mark Sargent's Clues when he had just started them. And I said, "Okay, I'm just going to debunk this." So you guys are here. What if? I went into it not as a what if situation. I went into it as there's a no effing way. And I'm just going to disprove this. That was my attitude. And for 2 weeks, I tried. But back then, 2014, 2015, YouTube was actually very helpful. YouTube was like, "Here, watch this. Here, watch this. This person." And the algorithm was sending me more and more quality, real information. And for 2 weeks, I tried to debunk the flat Earth and prove the globe. And at the end of that 2 weeks, my head was the only thing that was spinning. And I couldn't believe it. So I said, you know what? When I first heard it, the first conclusion, flat Earth is a psyop to discredit all of the good work that Oli Damagard's doing and all of us are doing. And I just made that conclusion because I had an unshakable belief that I wouldn't even question. Like if you, like Tom or anybody, you know who your mother is. You do not need, somebody could tell you anything that someone else is your mother and you're just not going to believe them. You're not even going to bother to look into it, right? Because you know. But what if you were adopted and you didn't know it until this very moment, right? That's world shaking, right? This is bigger than finding out that you're adopted later in life, right? Where you had no idea. So after a short period of time, maybe weeks, months, I wanted to not even mention on the podcast. I was just like, this is just going to scare everybody away. And then I was like, you know what? This is the biggest lie ever. And then, a smart person, when they're having their their heliocentric beliefs smashed one by one, you throw up your hands, you say, why? Why would they lie? What difference does it make? I still have to go to work on Monday. That is a pre-programmed line that everybody says. I still have to go to work on Monday. And I was just like, this is the lie that lets them get away with everything. It lets them get away with their fake shootings. It lets them get away with the boogeyman flying through the air. It lets them get away with all of the nonsense, because if you're spinning out of control, lost in space, don't know who you are, don't know your true power, don't know what this place is. And we're just figuring it out right now. Flat earthers know that we don't know a lot. Globers think they know everything, and they don't know anything. So that's my journey. There you go. That's my journey. And here I am. And then, I literally worked up through corporate America. I went to college, corporate America, left corporate America, started my own business. I'm the CEO of my own company, doing very well, making more money than I'd ever thought I'd make, and having, may I say, a very cool boss. That would be me. And so I have what they call, the American dream or whatever. And I'm doing this conspiracy stuff, and it's really conflicting with my work. And I asked God for a sign. Like, I was actually considering leaving everything I built, and I got a couple signs that blew my mind, and I left, and it was the greatest thing I've ever done. And I'd like to say, I don't even know what day today is, but I think today is Monday, because I watched Glowbusters yesterday, and Glowbusters is on Sunday. So I have to go to work on Monday. That's off the list. This world is more amazing than ever. There's always when you seek your truth for a good reason, the Creator has your back, and that's my journey. Here I am talking to you guys in Australia, which
Awesome.
Which does exist.
Well, David, first of all, there was a few things in that little intro that you gave that was very similar to my story, and I think very similar to other people, is that you sort of go through that journey, you go into some of these things to try to debunk it to start off with. So you're like, for me, it was vaccination. It was like, I'm going to go in and prove that the vaccination's okay, and I can get on with continuing to vaccinate my kids and do all of those things. And then when you start to research, you start to ask questions, and you're kind of almost dreading the fact that you're going to get the wrong answer, the answer that you don't want. You don't want to be an anti-vaxxer. You don't want to, and I reckon the worst thing is you don't want to be a flat earther. Like, that's the,
yes.
the conspiracy of all conspiracies. It's like, you don't, I can remember even having conversations as I'm starting to wake up about different things with friends and family. And, then I'd talk, I did some stuff with anti-child trafficking. And so I'd talk to them about that. And then I would go, but you're not one of those flat earthers, are you? And I'm like, no, that's just one of those things that, they just say to mess with you, and that's just to debunk everything else. And no, of course, I'm not a flat earther. And then I was like, there was two things that I still had to research, which was flat earth and what happened with the stuff in World War II with Nazi Germany. They were the two things. I'm like, I'm just not going to touch them. They're just too far. And so we've actually got one coming up, a Holocaust guy coming up and talking about that as well. So that's going to be interesting. But one thing that kept me from looking further to start off with was trying to understand how the maps work and that sort of thing. How could that work? Because I know that in the Arctic and the Antarctic, they have, full darkness and they have full light. So can you explain that? Because when I went down to Antarctica, I had that experience where we had to stay up and we were on a yacht, and we had to do what they called iceberg watch. So you had a big stick, and as icebergs are floating down, you'd have to push them away from the yacht to make sure that they didn't damage it. So you sat on there for an hour at a time, and then you'd watch, but it only ever got, like dusk sort of. So, you could still see everything. So can you explain how that works on a flat earth map? How do we have full light and full darkness?
Yeah. I can add another point I wanted to make is something you just said, and it escaped me. I will just go with that. It'll come back. So the way the light works here, we'll start here. So on a flat earth map, second. Where is my day and night?
So you can share screen. We've got your
Yeah, no,
clock
no,
in the
I got it. There,
Yep.
there is. So on a flat Earth, we have a small local sun. The sun would be right here, and it goes around, and then the moon just happens to be a full moon here. This is just the moon isn't always across from the sun. It gets lapped every 28 days. The sun will lap the moon. Here we go. So now I can show you here. So this is my app, and I'm sure some of you that are into flat Earth have it. So wherever the sun is, it's noon. So so when it's noon in Central South America, it's pretty late night over here. And as you can see right now, this shape of the light is kind of curved. It's got a little curve because we're just past the equinox. Now, my app is inaccurate on a daily basis. It actually only updates the light once a month. But if we jump forward a month to April, here we are, April, May. So we're in May. And you see how it's wrapping even more? Right?
Yep.
June. So June is our northern summer. Where am I going? Am I in June? Okay, June, July, right? So it's in here and it's closer to us. When something's closer, it's higher. When something's farther, it's lower. That's just the way it is. And if I go out to July, August, September, October, November, December. So in December, now, actually, I have a better animation. But as you see, as the sun goes out, we get this wrapping. We get this, the light actually goes farther. And that's because it's interacting with the dome. It's interacting with the sky or the dome, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if the sky is physical or not. I personally think it is. I think there's a firmament up there that we can't get through. So here's a, oh, that's not it. Also, I just found my page.